voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence state's exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. But if it's warranted, I will, and your attorney will tell you I've sent people to prison before. So you have to deliver cases. Sometimes there's some. Court is calling 2024 CR 0105W, State of Texas versus Jasmine Lynn Gallegos. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hank Wilkins for the state, Your Honor.
Defense?
Your Honor, Jeffrey Martinez.
And are you Jasmine Gallegos?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Ms. Gallegos, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Community Supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Gallegos, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that with your attorney?
Yes,
Did you
ma'am.
understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of unlawfully carrying a weapon with a felony conviction? That is a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against her?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you believe she's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your
We'll
Honor.
find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived her right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 5 years in the prison. There's a $1,000 fine and state recommends community supervision. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
Yeah, Your Honor.
And did you also understand that as a part of the plea bargain agreement, you are to forfeit any weapons? Did you understand?
Right.
And are you in agreement to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Outside the plea bargain agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 5 years. There'll be a TAP evaluation and 180 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the information as filed, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
Your Honor, I offer State's Exhibit 1 and the attachments.
Any objection?
No.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence state's exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing state's exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor, we just asked the court to follow the agreement.
All right, do you have any children?
No, ma'am.
How are you employed?
I'm currently unemployed at the moment.
Any drug use?
No, ma'am.
And if you were released, who would you be living with?
My grandmother.
Does she want you living with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you talked to her and she said she wants you living with her?
Yes, ma'am. I have a good support system out there with my family.
All right, you know you're not supposed to have weapons. Why do you have weapons?
I made a mistake, Your Honor.
No, you didn't. You made a choice. So why do you have weapons? You know you're not supposed to have them. A mistake is somebody gave you a bag, you didn't know weapons were in it, and then there were weapons. So why, you know you're not supposed to have weapons. Why are you having weapons?
Hanging with the wrong people.
If I ask the wrong people that you're saying that you're hanging out with, if I were to ask them the same questions, you know what they would tell me? Hanging out with the wrong people. And I would say, well, who is that? And they'd say, Miss Gallegos. All right, I'm going to sentence you to 5 years in prison, suspended and probated for 5 years. There's to be a TAP evaluation and MIC evaluation in custody. And also a gang evaluation in custody. There's to be 180 hours community service restitution. She's not allowed to buy that out. Proof of employment within 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. I'm going to want field visits 1 time per month until further notice. And I'm going to ask for the UA hotline. And while you're on probation, you're not allowed to have any weapons. All weapons seized are to be forfeited, along with any magazines and ammunition. And there's to be no contact with Michael Lee Kilgore. And there's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. And regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Probation, is there anything else she needs? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful? Showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? 2024 CR 0105W, State of Texas versus Jasmine Lynn Gallegos. Can I have parties announced for the record, for the state?
Jason Gary, Your Honor.
For the defense?
Angela Blake.
And are you Ms. Gallegos?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the document entitled Motion to Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Jasmine Lynn Gallegos who was placed on community supervision in 2024 CR 0105W for the offense of unlawfully carrying of a weapon with a felony conviction on January 9th, 2024 for a term of 5 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
State?
Yes, Your Honor. Violated condition number 4 on or about the 22nd day of January 2024 in Bear County, Texas. The defendant Jasmine Lynn Gallegos did then and there failed to report as directed to the 187th District Court for a compliance hearing as directed by the supervision officer and or the court in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
Your Honor, we'll waive the remaining violated condition.
All right. And I don't have a trial court certification.
No, Your Honor, it's we are requesting to be continued.
Yeah,
Would you
but
like the court like it instead anyway? Okay.
thank you.
Thanks, Judge.
All right. And state,
Oh, yes, there's an agreement, Your Honor.
no, are you proceeding on the next violation?
So, waiving the remaining violated conditions, Your Honor.
All right. Any objections to the waiver?
No objection.
Did you understand by pleading to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it guilty? I'm sorry, could find it true, grant the motion and sentence you up to 5 years in prison and up to $1,000 fine.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to need to speak up.
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find violation of condition number 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
There's a proposed agreement, Your Honor. It is to deny the motion and continue her on her community supervision with additional TAP evaluation done while in custody and follow the recommendations of mental health eval in custody, ISP gang evaluation in custody, and also a UA hotline for 90 days, plus proof of residency and employment every 90 days.
All right, so why should I follow this agreement? It appears that she hasn't done anything. Has she done anything on probation?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and then I had a compliance hearing. I always do compliance hearings. If there's an issue, people can come in, tell me what their issue is, and we can get them back on track. So I don't understand why I should continue her.
We're just asking the court consider it, Your Honor.
But I mean, somebody needs to give me a reason why, because she is on probation. She hasn't done anything. And to get her back on track, I set it for a compliance hearing and she did not show. So I don't understand why I should continue her.
I'll ask that I call my client, Your Honor.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Jasmine Lynn Gallegos.
Are you asking the court to consider release or continue on probation?
Yes, ma'am.
And why is that?
Because I never started it. And I got released and I didn't turn myself back in, but I want to do something better.
All right, do you need to speak up?
I want to do something better in life.
So the reason why you want me to continue you is because you were placed on probation, you were released, and you never did anything. So basically, you're just throwing yourself on the mercy of the court saying, I did nothing, but please continue me.
Do you have a job?
Yes,
Where do you work?
I mean, I was working at the Subway.
Okay, I
Pleasanton,
cannot hear
Texas.
you.
I was working in Subway at Pleasanton, Texas,
And where do you live?
in Pleasanton, Texas with my grandma.
Do you have anybody that you care for?
Yes, my grandma, she's sick right now.
Oh, let's not
Okay.
do that.
Okay.
Let's not do this thing where we're bringing in the sick relatives, the baby that nobody else can take care of, because you were supposed to report. Let's do this. This is what can help me understand whether or not I should continue. Let's assume you don't have a sick grandmother, you don't have any sick relatives, you don't have any sick children. It's just you. Why should you be continued on probation? Don't tell me that Subway needs somebody to make sandwiches. Let's assume that Subway doesn't need anybody to make sandwiches. Why should I be continuing you?
Because I want to prove to you that I can do it.
But you have not. But okay, but you want to prove to me that you can do it.
So,
All right. Any other questions?
Is there any other reason why you're asking the court to continue your probation?
no,
Do you believe you have a drug problem?
no,
All right, so she don't have a drug problem. Why didn't you report?
because they wanted me to turn myself back in.
I'm sorry, what?
Because they wanted me to come back and turn myself in.
All right. Why didn't you show up for your compliance hearing? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I don't know, ma'am.
All right.
Do you have a mental health issue? Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental health issues?
No.
All right. So I really don't have any reason to continue her. Her whole thing is, I didn't do anything. Don't revoke me. And the court reached, everyone knows, if somebody is falling off track, normally what I do in some situations, Ms. Gallegos, is because maybe sometimes people just fall off track. They just need to realize what they're looking at. And I set compliance hearings. And I'm not even going to consider, I set compliance hearings twice for you. The state only went on one, so I'm not even considering the other. But a compliance hearing was set for you to try to get you back on track to see, hey, is there something we're missing here? Is there something you need in order to be successful? And you didn't even show up for the compliance hearing. The compliance hearing was a step before your motion to revoke. Because I had a choice at that time. I always get notices from probation. They'll tell me how a probationer is doing. If there are some issues, I will always usually check compliance hearing. Let's bring that person in and find out what's going on. And you didn't even show up for that. So I don't think you're a good candidate for probation. Everybody who's in custody will come before me when they're in custody and say to me, I want to prove to you I can do it. But, you know, history has shown that you can't because you didn't. So I don't know why I should continue you. So I don't know if you want to talk to her, but I don't have a reason for why she didn't show up. Okay. All right. I'm not going to follow this proposed agreement. I don't think she's a good candidate for probation. She hasn't done anything. And she's been given opportunities to do things and she just refuses. And based upon her testimony, she didn't want to come back because she didn't want to turn herself in. I don't know what to do with that.
If the court were to grant your request for continued probation and the TAP evaluation, would you comply with the conditions of the TAP
Yes, ma'am.
and any recommendations thereof?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you also comply with any conditions of the gang ISP evaluation
Yes, ma'am.
as well as the mental health?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, my client's throwing herself on the mercy of the court and we're requesting that the court continue her on probation.
All right, so under cross-examination, under direct examination, she stated she doesn't have any mental health issues, so that's not an issue. And now I'm being thrown at that there may be gang issues with her. And part of the plea bargain agreement was In this case, she was to forfeit weapons, magazines, and ammunition. So she was placed on community supervision for that, and she has done nothing. Court is finding violation of condition number 4 true. Court is going to sentence you to 5 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's $1,000 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. I'll recommend, if she stated she doesn't have any drug issues, she doesn't have mental health issues, but I'll recommend the therapeutic community or the mental health unit at the prison. You'll have to recommend it as well because I have no jurisdiction. And if they discover that you do have a mental health issue, then they will take care of it there. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you have a limited right to appeal, and that right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you were on community supervision. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. Good luck to you. You're gonna have to start making better decisions. If you continue to pick up felonies in Texas, they're gonna start labeling you as a repeater or a habitual. If you're a repeater, that means your range of punishment level is gonna go up by one level. And if you're habitual, in some cases, your minimum is gonna be 25 years at the prison. You have some choices you're gonna need to make. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and when you're released from prison, if you need help with anything, you can always. Court is calling 2023 CR 2172 State of Texas versus Satare Portillo. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hank Wilkins for the state, Your Honor.
Defense?
Robert Porter.
All right, so we're here for sentencing. We've been waiting for the results of a UA, and that result hasn't come in yet. Probation, do you have any idea when that will be ready?
That was done in offsite, so if I would have thought that we would have received it by now, the results didn't go on the day. It wasn't submitted on the day that the court required, so it took a little while to get her in. So right now we're just waiting. It was submitted on the 21st, so I thought it would be in by yesterday, today, but it still says today.
Okay. All right, Ms. Portillo, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. How many children do you have?
2,
What are their ages?
6 and 14.
Are you employed?
And
What do you do?
managed properties, apartments,
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
8 years.
And does anyone live with you other than your children, or do your children live with you?
Yes, they do.
All right, anyone else stay with you?
My aunt as well.
When is the last time you've used any type of substance
I haven't used any type of substance.
in your lifetime?
Well, no, it's been quite a while.
So my question is, when is the last time?
Probably about a year and a half ago.
And what drugs were you using a year and a half ago?
Marijuana.
That's all.
Yes.
Okay. This is what I'm going to want, probation. You need a pen? All right. It's going to be 8 years deferred adjudication, $2,000 fine, probated. I'm going to want her on the patch until further notice. All right. So 8 years, sorry about that. 8 years deferred adjudication, $2,000 fine, probated, a patch until further notice. I'm going to want a TAP evaluation done and follow all TAP recommendations. And counsel, if TAP recommends inpatient treatment, you'll need to come back to court.
Yes, sir.
There's to be 200 hours community service restitution. She's to complete parenting classes, and those hours will be waived once parenting classes are completed. And probation, you can decide which parenting classes you all think would be appropriate for her. Proof of employment. Y'all need to whisper proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home healthcare provider or with minors. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. I'm going to want field visits one time every 3 months, random. And that's until further notice. Who is Michael Portillo? That's your
son.
juvenile child, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is Maria Avalos?
My ex-mother-in-law.
There's to be no contact with Maria Guadalupe Aveles. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Aviles. Avalos.
Could I say something though?
Sure.
Oh. Well, because my mother-in-law, we do have a lot of contact with my daughter, so. We have to contact each other. Because I'm not supposed to have contact with her, my ex-husband.
Oh, for kid exchange?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to find somebody else.
Oh.
I'll talk to him about that.
All right, thank you. Probation, is there anything else she needs?
No, Your Honor.
Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No.
All right, I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. And counsel, I believe I gave you a copy last time. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes. Ma'am.
All right, from here on out, everything that you do in your life, there are 2 questions you should ask yourself before doing them. Is this something that could result in me going to prison for life? If the answer is yes, don't do it. The other question you should ask yourself, is this something that may result in me going to prison for the rest of my life? If the answer is yes, don't do it. Do you understand?
I do understand.
I take no joy or pleasure in sending the people to prison. But if it's warranted, I will. And your attorney will tell you I've sent people to prison before. So you have children,
Yes.
you need to look out for them. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 172 State of Texas versus Satara Portillo. Could I have the parties announced for the record for the state?
Daniel Escobar for the state of Texas.
Defense?
The attorney of record is Joanne De Hoyos. Joseph Statesman standing in. Ms. Portillo, will you give this court permission for me to do this in place of Ms. De Hoyos?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Portillo, did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Are you the same Satari B. Portillo who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2023 CR 2172 for the offense of possession with intent to deliver a controlled substance penalty group 1, 4 grams to 200 grams on July 27, 2023 for a period of 8 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state.
Violating condition number 35, on or about the 25th day of March 2024 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Satara P. who then and there failed to follow the TAP recommendations to include inpatient as directed by the court in violation of condition number 35.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
Your Honor, state waives all the violations.
Any objections to the state's waivers?
None.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition 35, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 35?
Yes.
Court will find violation of condition number 35 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, it's altered amend for state ISF, the substance abuse program, followed by aftercare with ISP, weekly UAs with 0 tolerance.
All right, so what I can tell you all, if you want to reconsider things, you can, but I'm not following that agreement.
We could step away for a moment.
We're gonna go back on the record in 2023 CR 2172, State of Texas versus Satara Portillo. Could I have parties announced for the record?
Daniel Escobar for the state.
Joseph Statesman, continuing to fill in for Ms. De Hoyos.
All right. The defendant had entered a plea of true to violation of condition number 35. do you wish to continue with your plea of true in violation of condition number 35?
Yes.
All right, the court will find violation of condition number 35 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
I discussed this with the COO, Ms. Abrams, and ADA Daniel. My client is asking to be continued. We had a recommendation that was a three-way agreement. I understand the court didn't want to follow that. I had proposed something to Daniel. I'm hoping that you would consider this. But just some background a little bit first. Her prior MTR was disposed of February 27th, 2024. But she was booked February 3rd, 2024. So from February 3rd till today, according to the clerk, it's 137 days. So she's had the equivalent of a, not court ordered, but equivalent of a 4-month jail sanction. She will admit, well, she did admit that she refused to sign conditions for inpatient. She's willing to do not just ISF, she's willing to do SAT-F. She's willing to redo all her classes. She's been in jail for quite a long time. That's her own mistake. She admits that she didn't want to sign it. Maybe she was reluctant to, but she thought that she was supposed to get out, have court, and come back and do things, and she never left the jail. And out of frustration, she didn't sign the conditions.
No, I don't think she's a good candidate for probation. She was supposed to sign the conditions, the TAP recommended inpatient treatment, and she didn't do it. So I don't think she should be continuing on probation. She was given opportunity, and counsel, as you just stated, this is not her first motion to revoke. Her previous motion to revoke was on February 27th, as you stated, and there was a violation of condition number 1. And I ordered that there be a TAP evaluation in custody to follow those recommendations. And she decided that she didn't want to follow those recommendations. I don't see how there's anything that I can do anything for her. People don't get it. You're not supposed to, when the court orders you to do something, for example, to help you by following the recommendations of TAP. TAP recommended inpatient treatment. And I know sometimes people get to talking to people at the Bexar County Jail. And when I say people at the Bexar County Jail, I mean other inmates. And they give people advice, and people want to follow the advice of an inmate, not realizing that, guess what? That person is in custody. But I made an order, and we can't do this thing where I order somebody to follow the TAP recommendations, and the TAP says inpatient, and then somebody says, I'm not signing to go to inpatient. And then what ends up happening when reality hits that your range of punishment is 5 to 99 years or life, then people come before the court and they want to say, oh, you know what? I changed my mind. Now I will do inpatient treatment. So that's where we are.
And
I
Your
don't think
Honor,
she's a good candidate.
she's also willing to take a felony conviction, change it from deferred to straight probation. She's willing to do the harsher inpatient treatment program with 0 tolerance. It was a poor decision for her to not sign that. 4 months she's been in here. She's willing to sign this, willing to do this, and even add to these conditions.
I just don't think she's a good candidate. If somebody wants to argue to me why she would be a good candidate for probation, when this is her second motion to revoke, and I ordered her to follow the recommendations of the TAP evaluation, and she didn't want to follow them. But now she does, because I don't know, I guess she thought a motion to revoke would not be filed against her.
Yeah, I didn't know that that's what would result.
Ah,
I
so
thought
these are called consequences.
Well, Your Honor, also the charge itself, people who are affected with these substances may not make the best decisions in life. To prevent her from reoffending in the future, relapsing, and she's willing to do even more intensive inpatient.
But she's charged with possession with intent to deliver, and I understand that sometimes when people have possession with intent to deliver cases, sometimes they're selling because they're also using. But the amount of methamphetamine she had was 27.980 grams. I don't think probation is appropriate for her. I'm not going to continue on probation. I'm going to revoke her and find her guilty. Does anybody wish to speak to punishment?
Defense would ask for the minimum time, Your Honor. With credit for time served.
All right, I'll sentence her to 5 years in the prison. Give her credit for any time served. And I'll ask for the therapeutic community. I'm gonna show you what's entitled trial court certification of defendant's rights to appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes.
But you do have a limited right to appeal. That right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you are on deferred adjudication. Do you understand?
Yes, please.
All right, because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to